So welcome to yoga on Monday morning. Take care when you move around objects around you in your home and pay attention to how you feel as you move around. Don't do anything that doesn't feel right, and know that it's always fine to modify a posture to something that you know is better for you or to take a rest. So we're going to start lying down. Find yourself a comfy place to lie down on the floor. And as you lie down, just feel the points of contact that you've got with the floor or the mat. So no effort in your legs, no effort in your arms. Shoulders are relaxed. Breathing gently. So that awareness of your breath brings control to your breath as well. So the breath is no longer automatic. Allow it to be steady, a steady pace of in-breath. So the same rate of flow of air all the time that you're breathing out in and all the time that you're breathing out. And an even length of breath in, even length of breath out. Each part of the breath the same length. Steady, even breathing. And every bit of the breath, even though you're focusing on the evenness and the steadiness, still it's gentle. There's no forcing. And keep with that steady, even breath. Bring your arms by your sides. And then as you take your next breath in, reach your arms up and over beyond your head. And as you breathe out, bring your arms back down by your sides. And the next time your arms land by your sides, let them stay there as you carry on breathing. So arms are by your sides, rested. Take them a little way away from your sides. Bend your knees, bring your feet onto the floor. Feet a good hip distance apart. So you're going to keep your feet that distance apart. Take a breath in. As you exhale, let both knees drop over to the right side. So you roll onto the outside edges of your feet as your knees go closer to the floor. Then take a breath in to bring your knees back to the centre. And a breath out to take them over to the other side. So your feet just roll where it's comfortable. So a breath in every time to come up. And a breath out every time to go over to the other side. we went to the right first. So next time you come up from the left side, make that your last one. Rest at the centre. Stretch both legs out along the mat. Push your heels away, pull your toes up towards your face, and then take your arms beyond your head as well. So make yourself long, sides of your waist feeling long, and then spread your fingers as wide apart as they'll go, stretching that bit of webbing in between each finger. Stretch your toes the same way. A little bit wider, and then relax your hands and your feet. Bring your arms by your sides. And then one knee at a time, knees onto your chest, hands around your knees, have a rock side to side. Feet to the floor. So know which side you've got space to get up at and roll over to that side. Come all the way up to standing for our salute to the sun. So you want to be standing at the front end of your mat so that you can lunge back. Perfect, so right at the front of the mat so that you've got room to lunge back. I'm going to stand here just for the first bit. So firm down through both feet. Check that your toes are pointing forwards. And your feet don't have to be together. When we take a forward fold, sometimes for some people it's like you kind of have to take your knees wider apart. For some people, I know that. If that's for you, stand now with your feet a little bit wider apart and your toes pointing forward so that you've got more chance of keeping your knees in line as we go down. But if feet together is okay, then feet together. And as if you could zip up from your inner ankles or the point between your inner ankles if they're not together, right up through your body, lifting it to its full height. So the crown of your head comes closer to the ceiling, but your shoulders and your arms can completely relax. It's like they're heavy. Check that your feet are firm and grounded on the floor in an even footprint through both feet. And then lift your arms to the ceiling. Look up. And then reach your arms back and wide as if you're trying to reach out for the back corners of the ceiling. If your shoulders reach up towards your ears, pull them back down. Feet still firm on the floor and a lift of the centre of your chest towards the ceiling. And then look forwards. Reach up. Take a forward fold. So try and keep your knees in line with your toes, fingers on the floor. Relax your upper body. So there should be a bit of stretch in the length of your back. Head hangs. Right foot steps back to a lunge. And then lift your chest, look forwards. Left foot back to down face dog. Be aware of the floor, be firm on the floor. Tummy button to spine. Slide forwards to plank. Place your knees gently on the mat. Smoothly roll your front body down, elbows close in by your sides. And then roll your shoulders away from your ears. Lift your chest. As if there's a torch coming out of your chest and you want to shine the light on the wall in front rather than the floor. Look back down at the floor, push up to hands and knees. Tuck your toes under. Come back into down face dog, and then we're going to stretch the legs one leg at a time. Anytime down face dog is held too long for you though, rest in child's pose, that's always okay. Then stretch both legs. Stretch your heels down to the floor, stretch the top of the backs of the thighs up towards the ceiling. And then weight on your left foot, look between your hands. Step the right foot through to a lunge. Step the left foot in line with the right foot, forward fold. As much knee bend as you want. And then a deeper bend of your knees, so hips drop down towards the floor. Spine lengths, a bit of an arch of your back, and your legs then bring you up to standing. Palms together, zipped up through the centre, right up through your middle fingers, and then slide your hands down. Keep your zip lifting you up, shoulders relaxed. And then lift your arms. Look up and then reach back and wide. Relaxing your shoulders, lifting your chest. Look forwards, reach up. Forward fold. Left leg back to a lunge. Right leg back to down face dog. Slide yourself forwards. How straight is the whole back of your body, from the back of your head, your shoulders, your hips, your heels. And if you're feeling strong, stay lifted, otherwise place your knees down on the floor and then a smooth lower down of your front body. Maybe everything can make contact at the same moment. Roll your shoulders back, lift your chest. Shine your torch to the wall. And then look back down, push up to hands and knees. Tuck your toes under. Back into down face dog. Tummy button to spine. Bit of a stretch down the back of the legs that you stretched last time. And then be aware of the contact of your feet and hands on the floor. Firming it down. And have a little feel of how, if you release that firmness in your hands and your feet, your whole body relaxes a little bit. When you press down again, when you refirm down again, it's almost like your body can spring back into a nice, sharp, upside down V shape. So the fact the ground is helping the rest of your posture. Weight on your right foot to look between your hands, and then left foot forwards. Right foot forwards, forward fold. A deep bend of your knees, hips low, chest lifts, and then come all the way back up. Palms together at the top, and then palms slide down. Still zipped up, still relaxing your shoulders. With the breath this time. So inhale to lift up. Exhale, up and over, back bend. Inhale, reach back up. Exhale, forward fold. It's like slow, continuous movements. Inhale, right leg back to a lunge. Exhale, down face dog. Inhale, plank. Option to drop your knees. Exhale, lower down. Inhale, lift your chest. Exhale, down face dog. So keeping the lift of your hips, drawing in your tummy button, come back to that feeling of your hands and feet on the floor. And specifically your hands, what part of your hand is pressing down onto the floor. What's the handprint like that you're making? Can you make it more even? Probably by pressing down the base of your index finger and maybe the mound of your thumb would make it more even. And that's going to be stronger, even though it feels awkward to roll it in. It's a stronger position. And then weight on your left foot, in between your hands. Breath in, right leg through. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, stand up. Exhale, palms down. Breath in here. Breath out. Inhale, lift up. Smooth, continuous movements. Exhale, back bend. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, left leg back. Exhale, down face dog. Inhale, plank. Option to drop your knees. Exhale, lower down. Inhale, lift your chest. Exhale, down face dog. So reground your down face dog. Feel your upside down V shape. Keep your hips lifted high and then really firm down through your hands and your feet. With your hands making that even hand print. And then this time you're going to press your hands even harder. And as you press your hands even harder, feel how your hips can maybe move up and back, giving you a bit more length, a bit more lightness in your upper body. Steady breath. Weight on your right foot, look between your hands. Breath in, left foot forwards. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, stand up. Exhale, palms down. Breath in here. And a breath out. And then rest your arms by your side. Just take your feet a little bit apart. Stand there for a moment. Let it all settle in your body. And then if you want to make any shakes or movements, please do. So we're going to come into our balance. I'm just going to lift my camera a little bit. We're going to do dancer's pose today. So if you're on a mat, you might want to step off your mat. And if you want some assistance to hold on to, it's a good idea to have something in front of you. Dancer's pose is where we take a foot up behind it and lean forward. So if you can have a wall in front of you to help your balance, that's a good place, rather than at the side. It's a bit harder at the side, but obviously you've got to work with what you've got at home. So find what you want to find, and we're going to balance on the right leg, pick up the left. So when you pick it up from behind, automatically you kind of take it from the outside. If you can, the inside is good, because feel how it makes your shoulder just roll back rather than roll forwards. So if you can reach from the inside, that's a good thing, but if you can't, you can hold from the outside. And then bring your knees towards each other. So that left knee is looking down at the floor. There's immediately a stretch down the front of the left top of the thigh. But your left shoulder's rolling back, your knees are pointing down, your right arm is going to just reach out on the horizontal line. And you can look out beyond those fingers, or those fingers can touch your wall, or you can look down on the floor, sort of in a little bit in the distance. So left shoulder stays rolling back. You're going to take your left knee out behind you. And as you take your left knee out behind you, maybe stretch your right fingers a little bit forwards. You don't have to go far. Stop when you get there. So the left shoulder's still rolling back. The left arm is straight. And feel how your left leg is just being held by your left arm. The leg is relaxed. The arm's taking the strain. We're going to change that so the leg takes the strain. Your left leg pushes into your left hand. So let the leg do the work. The more you push it, it's like it straightens out and it lifts, the knee lifts up off the floor. And take a breath in to come back upright, bring your leg back down onto the floor. Have a moment there, and then if you need a shake, have a shake. And we're going to do the other side. So weight is on your left foot. You're going to pick up your right leg from the inside if you can, but it doesn't matter if you can't. Right knee points down towards the floor, so your knees are close together, left arm vertical along the horizon. Perfect. It's a bit of a lift of the front of your body. You want to be long in your front body. Right shoulder rolls back. Right knee moves back towards the wall behind, and you stretch your left fingers forward. So you get a little bit of a lean forwards, but you keep a lift of your chest. So it doesn't have to be any maximum position, just a little bit of a diagonal line. Feel your right arm straight, supporting your leg, holding your foot, but then you're going to lift that right knee a little bit and push the foot away. So now the leg is in control rather than the arm. You're looking out beyond the fingers or down towards the floor. Breath in to come back up. And then foot to the floor. Have a moment there, just see what it feels like as things settle down. And then make any movements that you want to make. And once you're ready, we're going to lie down on our fronts. So when you lie down, pillow with your hands, one hand on the other. Rest your forehead on your pillow. Take a few breaths once you get down there. So stay resting there. I'm just going to talk to Paddy for a moment, because I know you don't like being on your knees, but also you did mention your shoulder as well. So I think for this next one, you're going to stay lying on your front and stretch your arms out in front. Just lift your arms gently up and down, maybe one at a time, maybe both. See what it feels like. So yeah, if you want to join in any version of what we're doing, you can, but that's an alternative for you, with all your bits and pieces going on. So we're going to come up onto hands and knees. But then we're going to come down onto our forearms. So you want to have your elbows a little bit forwards of your knees, of your shoulders, sorry, and your knees above your hips. So kind of a longer stance than you would normally have. And your hands together, interlock fingers, straight fingers, I don't mind. We can do dynamic dolphin where we move forwards and backwards. So feel how you it's quite easy to sag your back. That's what we need to bring a little bit of stability into that area. So tummy button to spine and firm down through your forearms. So that's the position we're going to hold the whole time. Forearms are key to keeping your shoulders in good position. And if your elbows start to splay wide on the mat and you notice, bring them back in underneath your shoulders. Then it's a nice square position. So tummy button to spine. Whole length of your forearms. indenting into the mat. So you're going to take a breath in here, and as you exhale, you slide forwards. You decide how far forwards you go, but you're keeping your shoulders away from your ears. As you breathe in, your tummy button feels like it pulls you back. It's like you've got a belt that someone's pulling back to come back to the start position. As you exhale, you go as far back as you can with your hips, and you let your head hang in between your upper arms. Now you get your stretch of your shoulders. Inhale back to the centre. So it's an exhale to go forwards, push down firmly through your forearms, and a breath in, tummy button in, slide back to the centre, or lift back to the centre, exhale, move your hips all the way back, let your head hang between your upper arms, inhale back to the centre. So exhale forwards. I'm going to let you go in your own time, but keep using the breath. As you breathe in, tummy button pulls you back every time. Remember to keep your elbows coming back under your shoulders if they splay out wide. They're all looking great. So you alternate between strength in your shoulders and stretch in your shoulders, but your core stays tight so that your back doesn't take the work, doesn't take the strain. So one more cycle through, and when you've done that cycle through, then take a rest in child's pose. And let your arms rest wherever they want to rest. They need a bit of a break. And when you have your break, when we did the salute to the sun and we did the down face dog, the last time we did it, we thought about, we're thinking about the foundation, the hands and the feet, and then you were positioning your hands nice and flat on the mat and pushing them even harder down into the floor to get the lift. So we're going to do dolphin pose, which is down face dog but on forearms instead of hands. And going to think about that same thing. I'll remind you, you don't have to remember anything. I'll remind you when we get there. So we have the same starting position, that hands and forearms and knees position. A little bit longer base than you would have if you're completely square on. So elbows forwards of shoulders is what I mean. And forearms push firmly down and tummy button lifts. They're the two things you really need to remember. You can come down onto your knees at any time you want. And even if you don't manage to lift up, just make the effort to try to lift up, but then relax down again. So tuck your toes under first, and then find that same position. Tummy button to spine and forearms firmly down. So firmly down that your knees start to be light on the floor. That can be all you do, and then you go back down again, or maybe you can lift your hips all the way up. So you might want to step your feet in. You might feel, you find what length stance is good for you. Tummy button to spine, and then firm down through your hands and your feet. Let your head hang between your upper arms. And then you want to give that extra strong push again through your forearms. That's what's going to keep you lifted. Straighten your legs, push your heels down, but then come back to your forearms again. A big strong push down through your forearms. You're lifting your shoulders away from the mat. and a steady breath. So if you've got another couple of breaths in, you stay there. If you've had enough, then gently lower your knees down. If you're still there, push really strongly through your forearms. That's everything. Beautiful. And then knees gently back down on the floor. Rest in child's pose or flat on the floor, whatever you prefer. Lovely. So have your arms wherever they give you a bit of rest, or wherever they get a bit of rest. I'm going to take a side stretch. So if you don't want to be on hands and knees, you stretch out on the floor, tummy down. Otherwise you come back up onto hands and knees. And hands a little bit forwards of your knees. If you're on your tummy, then stretch your arms out in front, legs out behind. So on all fours, you're going to take your your left hand to the centre of the mat, sort of a little bit forwards as well. Paddy, you're going to just stretch your left arm out forwards, and then keeping the palm of the left hand firmly down. Sit your hips back. They won't go all the way back. You can let your right arm just relax wherever it wants to relax, but your left palm stays exactly where it is. So relax your head and neck as well. Find a stretch on your left side. So the stretch isn't your shoulder pulling out of its socket. That can be a bit more comfortable. It's in the side ribs. So move to make that stretch happen, and then you're going to take a slow breath in into that stretch. And a breath out. So a couple more breaths, just finding a real stretch in the left side of your torso. Firming the left hand down onto the floor helps get a bit of stretch as well. And the left hip pulling back. Lift your hips, bring yourself back onto hands and knees. And then your right hand comes to the front centre of the mat. Firm the right palm down. Slide your hips back. Rest on your left arm, wherever it's comfy. Head and neck relax as well. Right palm firmly down on the floor, gripped down. Find the length in the right side of your body as you pull your hips back. And then take a deep breath into whatever big stretch you can find there. Length on the right side, and a slow exhale. A couple of breaths there. And then lift your hips, come back up to hands and knees. One more time back in child's pose. Bring your hands under your shoulders, lift your chest, come back upright. We're going to come all the way up to standing. We're going to do second warrior today. So second warrior has you facing the long edge of your mat. So if you've got room, long edge facing your screen. If you haven't, then you'll need to turn onto one side. But either is fine. Perfect. So taking the feet wide apart as is comfortable, and hands on hips. So looking at the way most people have stood who are sideways, we're going to turn the other way to normal. So right toes in, left leg out. In fact, Kim and Charles, if you both turn the other way, and Vanessa, I think, are you If you have your toe, if you've got your short edge of the mat pointing to your screen, turn so that your left foot is that way. Yeah, perfect. So the legs are turned out, but your torso faces the long edge of your mat. You can grip with both feet, take a breath in, and then as you exhale, bend your left knee. So sink yourself down. If you can see your screen, see if your spine stays vertical. If you can't, just picture it in your mind. Have a look down. If your left knee has gone forwards of your ankle, then creep your ankle away a little bit. And then turn to face the long edge of your mat again. Okay. So firm down through your feet, that's really key. And imagine that you've got a wall right behind you. So against your wall, can you find the outside of your left thigh? Just pull it against your wall. And then the outside of your right thigh, pull that against your wall as well. It's like both legs are rotating outwards. And your back ribs are against the wall. You can stretch your arms out so the backs of your arms and your little fingers are touching the wall as well. And be really aware of your wall. Turn and look over your left fingers if you want to. You can look forwards if you'd rather though. So as you take a breath in, lean everything back on that wall, both back thighs, the backs of the arms, the back ribs. And as you exhale, sink down lower, but keep your spine lifted. You can take 2 more breaths like that. So breath in, slide everything back against your imaginary wall. Exhale, sink your hips. 1 more breath in. Open the front body as you touch the back of the wall. Exhale, sink. Nice. And then a breath in to come up. Hands on hips. Turn your toes to the front. Have a moment, a couple of breaths to recover. If you're standing sideways, you might want to turn the other way, because when you turn your head to look over the fingers, then you're looking to the front, so it's just a bit more friendly. But I don't mind. So left leg turns in, right leg turns out. Nice and wide with the legs. Body square to the long edge of your mat. Take a breath in. And as you exhale, bend the right knee. Sorry. So thinking about keeping your spine upright. It would like to lean over towards your right leg. So thinking about keeping it upright. Firm feet in the floor. Have a look down at your right leg. Make sure your knee is above your ankle. And then square yourself to the front as much as you can again. So feel your wall behind you. Backs of the thighs against the wall. Back ribs against the wall. Backs of the arms against the wall. Back of the head even. And if you turn your head, you still keep maybe your right ear against the wall. Grip with your feet. Take a breath in. Lean back against the wall. Thighs back. Fingers. Exhale. Sink. Breath in again. So you open your front body as the back of your body splays against the wall. And you exhale. Sink. 1 more breath in. And a breath out. Inhale. Come all the way back up. Hands on hips. Toes turn in. Couple of breaths there. And then heel toe or walk your feet to hip distance apart. Uttanasana, forward fold. So breath in to lift your chest. And then an exhale to hinge at the hips. So legs stay upright. Hips tilt forwards. When you can't tilt any further with your hips, then bend your knees. And then let your upper body just hang over with gravity. Let go of your hips. Take hold of the opposite elbow with each hand. Let your head hang. Let your elbows be heavy. Feet still making a nice even footprint on both feet. Feel as if you're lengthening up the backs of your thighs. to tilt your hips a little bit further forwards. And no effort in your upper body. Release your elbows, fingers drop down towards the floor. And then tuck your tailbone under, tuck your chin in, a nice deep bend of your knees, and roll back up to standing. Step your feet wide apart, a wide leg forward fold. I'll just come onto a bit of an angle. Hands on hips. So again, a breath in to lengthen the front of your body before you fold it forwards. Exhale, hinge at your hips again. So your thumbs on your back can feel if your back's rounding. You don't want it to round, you want your hips to tilt forwards and your spine to be one long straight stick. Go as far as you can, and then let go of your hips. Just let your arms drop down towards the floor, and then let your upper body hang down. So if your fingers don't touch the floor once your upper body is relaxed, you can take a hold of your legs. That's fine if you need a bit of support. But if you've got a hold of your legs, you can kind of have a little bit of movement forwards and back. You want to feel a little bit of forward movement in order to stretch up the backs of the legs. As once you move back, it's kind of harder to stretch up the backs of the legs. And if your fingers are on the floor, then don't let them just hang there. Let them allow your hips to come forwards over your feet. You probably can't see me, but naturally you sit your hips back because you've got your upper body as your counterbalance. But if you've got your hands on the floor, you can use that to maneuver your hips a little bit more forward. So your hips are right above your center of your ankles. And your feet are firmly grounded down. Your upper body is relaxed. You're going to take a breath in and feel as if you're pushing the skin on the backs of your thighs up towards the ceiling, as if to tilt your hips forwards. And then as you breathe out, soften your upper body again. Breath in to push up through the backs of the thighs, pushing your tailbone up. Exhale, relax. One more breath in. And a breath out. Take a bend of both knees. Bring your fingertips on the floor underneath your shoulders and heel toe your feet towards each other. So you're going to bring your feet a little bit wider than hip distance. Toes turned out to the side. So we're going to squat. If squatting doesn't suit you, then sit yourself down instead. So if you're ready, toes turned out to the side so that as you bend your knees go out to the side as well. Lower yourself down, and you can move where your feet are. You only have to go halfway if you want to and rest there. You can come all the way down. Your heels might have to pop off if they do, pop up rather. If they do, that's fine. Keep your hands on the floor unless you've got flat feet on the floor, in which case see if you can lift your chest. It doesn't matter where you are, and if it gets too uncomfy, then sit down on the floor. Nice. So if you're low down, you might be able to take your hands behind your hips and just sit back down. If not, bring your hands in front, lift your hips, and then place one knee and then the other on the floor. Then take a lie down on your back. That's it. So feel a soft, gentle breath. Maybe you can even feel a bit of heartbeat. Take your attention in, see what you can observe going on in your body. Bend your knees, feet onto the mat. And then knees onto your chest. Hands around your knees. Have a little rock side to side. So you're aiming to make a bit of movement in your lower back. And then come to rest at the centre. Either rock up to sitting or make your way some way up to sitting. So we're going to take a twist. I always like to sit on a block for a twist, just because it helps to sit up straight and you can focus more on the twist rather than lifting yourself up. So if you've got anything that you could sit on, that would be great, but if you haven't, it really doesn't matter, you'll be absolutely fine. So if you're sitting on something, sit well on it. Stretch your legs out, sit as tall as you can, and you're going to bend your right knee, bring your foot in nice and close. So with your foot in nice and close, if you can sit up tall, do sit up tall. If you can't sit up tall, slide your foot further away, and then you'll probably find that you can sit a bit taller. So it's about, a lifted spine is better to twist than a rounded spine. So find yourself in a position where you've got a lifted spine. And you're going to keep your left hand on that right knee. And your right hand is going to go behind your back, palm face out. So if you're struggling to sit up tall and you need that hand on the floor, then have it on the floor to push into the floor to lift up tall. But if you can today, have it behind. So we're going to use the upper body a bit more to work the twist. So left toes point to the ceiling. Right knee stays in line. It may want to drop out to the side, but pull it in. Take a breath in to lift tall. And then as you exhale, move your tummy button to the back of the room, away from your left big toe. Another breath like that. So lift up tall as you breathe in. Exhale, move your tummy button away from your left big toe. And then let the right shoulder roll back as well. Maybe look over your right shoulder. Every breath in, a little bit more lift. Every breath out, a bit more rotation. So you're using the hand on the knee, but you're also using the arm behind your back to twist. If you need it, you can put the arm down on the floor anytime. Don't feel that that's got to stay lifted. But it really engages a lot of the sort of upper core muscles. 2 more breaths here. Breath in to lift up. And a breath out to turn. 1 more breath in. Breath out. And then look to the front. Turn yourself to the front. Stretch your right leg. Maybe give your legs a bit of a shake. And then we're going with the left leg. So bring it in just as far as you want to bring it in. Remember, it doesn't have to go all the way. Right hand on your left knee. Sit up tall to start. And then left arm behind your back, palm face out. And shoulders well away from your ears. It's like you're lifting up out of your shoulders. Take a breath in. And as you breathe out, tummy button slides towards the back of the room, away from your right big toe. That's the start of your twist. Another one like that. Breath in. Breath out. Move your tummy button round. Feel how your shoulders follow. So then every breath in, lifting up. Every breath out, turning the left shoulder away from you. It's like you're trying to move it out of your line of vision. Breath in to lift up. Breath out, left shoulder rolls back. Final breath in. And a breath out to turn. And then make your way back to the front. Hands either side of your hips. Stretch your legs out. Give them a little bit of a shake. And then we're going to go back down to lying on the floor. So slide off your block, put that to one side. Take a lie down with your knees bent. We're going to continue twisting. So we've had a good twist already. So it should make the next bit of twist, we're sort of already warmed up, ready for it, so that maybe we can relax a little bit more than we normally would. Arms out to the side, palm face up. both knees up onto your chest. Knees and ankles together. Take a breath in. And as you exhale, take your knees over to the left. So keep them tucked up high. See if they'll come down onto the floor. So wherever they want to be, make it as comfy for you as you can. So you can tuck your knees up more, you can stretch one leg away a bit. Feel if your right shoulder's lifted up away from the floor. Feel like make it a bit heavier so that it wants to drop down to the floor rather than lifting up. You can look at the ceiling where you can turn and look over your right arm. Your legs relax. Your chest and shoulders relax. If you turned your head, turn back up to the ceiling. You can bring your legs one at a time, right leg and then left leg, or both at the same time, back onto your chest. Take a breath in. As you exhale, take your legs over to the right side, the other side. So go slowly, be aware of your left shoulder. Even if the left one doesn't come down all the way, maybe you can let go with the right leg and just let that find the floor. And if your left leg needs a bit of support, you can hold it with your hand somewhere. Try and make everything feel supported so nothing has to hold on. You can look up to the ceiling or over to your left. And a feeling of heaviness in the back of your left shoulder. Once you've identified what that feeling of heaviness in the back of your left shoulder feels like, then relax. If it lifts away a little bit, that's okay. After a few breaths, has any tension crept in anywhere? Can you take a deep breath in into any place that feels like it's started to hold back, and as you exhale, let it soften again. If you're looking to the left, look back up at the ceiling. Maybe left leg first and then right leg back onto your back and feet on the floor. Arms in a more comfy by your side position. Bring your right knee onto your chest. Hold round the back of the thigh, but you can adjust where you hold. You're going to stretch that leg up towards the ceiling and have your toes pointed. Then relax your shoulders. So you're thinking about stretching, lengthening the back of the leg. If you have your toes pointed, then it's less the calf that's getting the stretch, but more the rest of the back of the leg, the back of the thigh. In fact, you can push your heel up to the ceiling and feel the stretch in your calf, but then point your toe again. So how straight can the back of your leg be? That's your priority. And if it can be straight, then you angle the leg a little closer in towards you. Trying to keep your right hip heavy on the floor at the same time. Take a breath in to lengthen the back of your leg. And a breath out to soften and relax your shoulders. And your leg's going to want to constantly relax, so keep thinking about the back of the knee. Can you push into the back of the knee, push it away from you to straighten it? And then bend your right knee. Keep it lifted though. Bring your left knee up onto your chest as well. Take a hand on each knee, take your knees wide apart and then stretch both legs. So hold wherever gives you a bit of support. You're trying to straighten your legs, but it really doesn't matter if they won't straighten. Hold them where you can, where it gives you a bit of support. Outside, inside is comfy as well if you've got a bit more flexibility. Point your toes away. Relax your shoulders. And as you take your next breath in, flex your feet. So push your heels away, pull your toes towards you. And the breath out like that as well. So slow breaths, pushing your heels away. As much of your back flat on the floor as you can. And then point your toes again. So you lengthen the fronts of your feet, lovely. And then bend your knees, bring your knees together at the centre. Right foot on the floor. Hands round the back of the left thigh. Going to stretch the left leg. So point your toes again. Make the leg as straight as you can. And if it is straight, then angle it a little closer in towards you. Relax your shoulders. Try to keep some weight in your left hip. Because we all want to go a bit further than we really can. And by lifting your left hip, stretching your back, gives you that little bit of extra distance, but that's not what we're doing. So keep it heavy on the floor. No one's measuring how far anyone's going. A big stretch of the back of the leg because it eases off all the time. And then a bend of your left knee. Bring your right knee up by your left knee. Hands on your knees, knees wide. And then whatever support your hands can give so that you can stretch your legs wide apart, as straight as they'll go. Supporting them from underneath or from on top, whatever feels good. Point your toes. How much of your back is on the floor? Your shoulder blades, your shoulders even, backs of your shoulders, your lower back. Take a breath in, stretch your heels away. A couple of breaths with your heels pushed away. Maybe you can even rotate your heels up towards the ceiling, toes and kneecaps towards the floor. Point your toes again. Stretch your legs as long as they'll go. And then bend both knees. Bring your knees together. And then place your feet on the floor. Take a little rock side to side of your knees to bring some movement into your hips. Whatever pace, whatever speed feels appropriate. And then resting at the centre. We're going to take our final relaxation here. So your arms are a little way away from your body, palms face up. If your lower back feels at all tender, then keep your knees bent so that your lower back can stretch a bit longer. If your lower back is okay, stretch your legs out along the mat. And feet can flop wherever they want to flop. Close your eyes. Notice any heaviness in your legs, comfortable heaviness. Bring your attention back to your breath, your breathing. Gentle breaths, gentle breath in, gentle breath out. Follow each gentle breath in all the way. And see if it's comfortable to elongate the gentle breath out. How does that elongated breath out feel? And then gently stretch your arms beyond your head. Bring your legs together. Lengthen your legs out along the mat. Push your heels away. Pull your toes up towards you. And then point your toes away. So relax your arms, your legs. Take a bend of your knees, feet on the floor, and then knees up onto your chest. Hands on your knees, one more rock side to side. Gently roll all the way onto whatever side you've got the space. And then back up to sitting. Namaste. Thank you so much.